Hi, this is Lene Bishop, a band booster president for the Sherwood bands, and I'm here with Rick Kemp, who is the founder of the ID Mentor campaign that we are trying to kick off for the Sherwood High School program, band program. It's an excellent fundraiser. I'm really excited about it, and what made me excited about it was actually getting to know Rick a little bit and his history. So I hope that this will facilitate your knowledge and information to maybe encourage you to get to know him a little bit better through the links that we share, so that you understand why the band program is doing this fundraising campaign.
Lene, thank you for the very nice introduction. I'd like to first of all thank all of the parents for spending a few minutes with us to listen to an overview of the identity protection campaign we're running as a fundraiser this year, and look forward to taking you through a brief overview of the history of ID experts and ID Mentor, so you have some background, and then talk specifically about the ID protection campaign. I'm one of two founders of a company called ID Experts based here in Portland, Oregon. Today we cover roughly 25 million Americans with our concierge level identity protection service. And we're literally one of the largest identity protection service providers in the country, with our primary client being the federal government. We were also selected by Blue Cross Blue Shield Association to provide identity protection services in the context of medical identity theft to their 106 million members in the US. I recently retired from ID Experts and decided to start another company called ID Mentor. Its mission is to combat identity theft through education so that our current and future generations of students can learn how to protect their sensitive information and keep it safe. When I was researching starting ID Mentor, what I realized was a study had been done by Carnegie Mellon looking at the impact of identity theft on children. What they found in their study was that 1 out of 10 children is an unknowing victim of identity theft. They're 51 times more likely to fall victim to identity theft than an adult. The reason for this is a child's identity, specifically their social security number, is like a stem cell in the context of DNA. It can be used with any combination of name, address, birth date, essentially to commit financial or medical fraud. Children don't check their identities. Their parents don't typically check their children's credit. And the impact is that children have an opportunity to have their identity stolen, unfortunately, for long periods of time until they start to look for a job or to open a student loan to go to college or to rent an apartment. In fact, when we were getting ready to launch this program, Lene mentioned that Kayla Holmes, one of the students at the Sherwood band, happened to be a victim of identity theft. What had happened essentially is Kayla was applying for a job. While the employer was doing a background check, they found out that she had actually had her identity stolen since she was 8 years old. The particular thief had bought a house, opened several lines of credit, and is still using her identity. What we decided to do was assign one of ID Experts' recovery advocates, a fellow by the name of John Ingram, to help Kayla. And we'll be posting essentially her story on the Band Booster Facebook page. So please follow along and watch her progress as we work to restore her identity to pre-theft status. One of the reasons why the risk of identity theft, child identity theft in particular, has increased is because of the explosive growth in the number of data breaches. In 2015, Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem had a significant breach. Roughly 79 million records were lost that year, exposing tens of millions of children's identities and their electronic medical records. In fact, starting in that year, roughly 252 million electronic medical records have been lost to cyber breaches since that point in time. And what this has done essentially is put millions of electronic health records, specifically those of children and adults, on the dark web, essentially where they're being traded so that others can commit identity theft. So ID Experts created a product called My ID Care. It's an identity protection solution that includes several components, starting with credit and financial monitoring, $1 million of identity theft insurance that covers fraud losses up to $1 million, concierge level ID care specialists that provide identity restoration services. These are the people that, like for Kayla, when they fall victim to identity theft, they have somebody specifically to work through their case, identifying all of the issues that are created by the identity thief, and helping them remove them from their records so they're back to pre-theft status. Some of the newer features that were added to My ID Care recently was cyber or dark web monitoring. This specifically looks for activity on the dark web where criminals are trading health information, social security numbers, and other details in order to commit identity theft. And most recently, a new technology called MIDAS, the Medical Identity Alert Service, which, if this is offered as a benefit for an employer, we can monitor for health claims being traded and used that might be used in the commission of medical identity fraud. This is literally the program that we're using with the federal government and healthcare agencies around the U.S. It is a very unique and robust program and includes all of these elements in a very secure infrastructure to protect the information and the data from, again, others potentially using it to commit various forms of fraud. One of the questions I typically get is, how does this product, the My ID Care program, compare with other programs in the marketplace, like from companies like LifeLock or from Experian, which is a credit bureau? What I tell them is there's a couple of major differences. One being the focus on the family. It turns out My ID Care is priced to include all members of the family, so both spouses and up to 5 children age 18 and under. Other programs essentially will charge for each individual spouse and each individual child, which actually increases the cost of their programs for a family. Also, what is rather unique is it turns out ID Experts is not in the data sales or data selling and marketing role. As a company, they're charged with protecting data. And so your information will not be shared or sold to other companies, which is not the case with other companies. The other key thing is we are working specifically with Sherwood Band Boosters to provide 20% of the revenue that will go to your programs specifically for the band, as long as the members continue to be members. And so it could go on for as long as 7 or 10 years, as long as the members continue to keep that membership. I guess I would point out one other thing too. The idea of membership. ID Experts has roughly 21.1 million members in their programs today. If you compare that to other companies in the marketplace, specifically LifeLock, they have roughly 5.2 million members. So you can see, even though people may not have heard of My ID Care, it is actually one of the largest programs in the U.S. So let's transition to the identity protection fundraising campaign that we're doing with the Sherwood Band Boosters. What we'd like your students to do is to share information they learn on September 26th in class with 10 family and friends so that they too can be protected. What your students will see is an email from Brent Stye, the band director, as well as from Lene Bishop, showing essentially what the program is about. We're asking the students to send an email to their parents, to their grandparents, their uncles and aunties, their friends, essentially explaining this unique fundraising opportunity, and essentially learning a little bit about identity theft, and more specifically, how to protect themselves from digital identity fraud. This email will contain a link to a very short 3-minute video that talks about My ID Care and what the program includes. And it'll also include another link specifically to a landing page on the Sherwood Band website that will facilitate enrollment. The goal of the campaign is to raise $900 a month, or $10,800 per year. The way we'll get there is if each student has a personal goal of signing up 3 memberships, we'll be able to achieve that specific revenue goal for this campaign. I want to thank you for your time and interest in helping us with this campaign. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. My email is on this slide. It's rick.cam@idmentor.org. And I'll turn the program back over to Lene Bishop.
I'm so glad that you took the time to review this little webinar with us tonight. In closing, I just want to reiterate what Rick has already gone over with what we're hoping to accomplish with the students. So as they come home from school on Wednesday the 26th, I hope that you'll have some good questions to ask them about what they learned in class, about their digital identities. They're going to be educated really well. And I think this is a great program for us to be able to try to earn some money for the band and also protect your identities and the identities of your children. We really would hope that you could reach out to 10 family members or friends that live anywhere in the world, really, and that each band student could have 3 memberships come of those conversations, so that we could make up to $10,800 a year through this ID protection program. Thanks again for listening to us tonight, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at president.sherwoodbands@gmail.com, or we can talk on the phone or any other way that you'd like to try to get any of your questions answered.